Thanks for tuning in and joining me today. I do appreciate it. I am sitting in a restaurant after closing, waiting on my friend to get off. They're the manager and they're closing up. So I'm sitting in here and I figured, hey, well, since I'm in here, I might as well share what happened today and why. So I think this is something that happens at some point in most car lifers, vehicle dwellers, van lifers, campers, whatever, in their lives at least once, is getting the knock. And I thought it would have been more time for me. I didn't think it would be a month in that I would receive the knock. But it happened, and I can tell you the number one reason why it happened. That would be because I broke one of the cardinal rules of being a vehicle dweller, and that would be that when a business opens, you should already be gone. So if you're going to stay at a business, that's a risk you can take if you want to take that risk, but you need to be out of there before they open. That's like one of the cardinal rules that you should not break. That way no one has a reason to call anyone on you because no one was even aware that you were there, type situation. So I really only have myself to blame for that call being made, but that doesn't make it any less, I don't know, I don't even want to say upsetting. I don't really know what I felt exactly, other than like partially relief that the interaction with the police officer was a positive one. But yeah, so this is a place that I've parked at several times, and the first time I parked there, I thought it was a church. So apparently it's a church and it's a child learning center connected together or on the same lot or something. There's a large overflow parking lot, which is where I thought I was parking the very first time I parked there, and then I saw cars coming in like around 8 o'clock, and it was like it's like Monday morning, you know. I figure, you know, church is on Sunday, most people are in church on Monday, and especially Monday morning, and so yeah, I was like, oh wow, I'm like right next to a business. So the next time I parked there, I parked further down the lot, so I wasn't near there, but I still made sure I was out around 8 because I knew that's when people were going to start rolling in. So fast forward to last night, I was not off of work today, but going into work significantly later as compared to yesterday. So yesterday I had to be in the work at 7:30 in the morning versus today I had to be in the work at 11. So it was like, I'm gonna have several hours to kill. I know I'm not gonna sleep until 11 because I don't sleep that late. So I want to park somewhere where I can just, you know, chill out until it's time for me to go. So that's what I intended to do. Woke up around 9 o'clock. So it was already an hour after, you know, everyone who was pretty much going to be at work was at work. And I was getting ready to head out because I wanted to leave around an hour before I had to go to work so that I had time to stop somewhere to get breakfast and eat and just kind of chill a little bit before I had to actually clock in. So I was halfway dressed, had my, you know, underclothes on, my shirt, my socks. All I had to put on were my pants and my shoes, and something just told me like to peek out over the curtain. And so I look, and there's this cop walking towards my car, and I'm like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Like maybe if I just pretend like I'm not in here, they'll go away, you know. So they knock on the window or the windshield or whatever, and at first I didn't say anything because it was like, okay, you don't have to respond to them, like there's no law that says you have to respond to them. But I was like, you probably should, though. I think your situation would probably be better if you do acknowledge them instead of pretending like, oh, I didn't hear you, oh, sorry, you know. So I was sitting in the back because I had been sitting on my bed. Sitting on my bed is like the best place to sit. I get the knock and I'm like, hi, and he's like, hey, can you put your shade down or something so that, I can talk to you? And I'm like, okay, give me just a minute. So I'm trying to get my pants on right quick because I didn't know if I was going to have to get out of the car or not. And I'm like, not trying to step out the car in my underwear, and so I poked my head, I dropped the curtain down and lifted up the window sock on the car because he was like, I see you moving around, but I can't actually see you. So I lifted that up, stuck my head out the window, and I'm like, hi, good morning. Like, sound as friendly and non-threatening as possible. And he was really, really nice. Like, sincerely, he was really polite, wasn't hostile or anything. And he's like, how are you doing today? And I'm like, I'm all right, how are you? He's like, I'm pretty good. And I guess he just knew, like, he knew what the deal was. Like, okay, this person's living in their car and they parked out here. And so he's like, I got a call from, a concerned parent. They said that there was a suspicious looking vehicle parked out in the lot, and so they called because they were concerned. And I think, I keep biting my cheek. I think some people, I'm not going to say that person wasn't legitimately concerned. It's possible, It is like a child development center, and I definitely should have left sooner than I did. Like, I should have left when I always do, before they open, or right as soon as people start rolling in. That way, no one can complain about me being there because I'm not there anymore. And I didn't. So, is it possible that they were concerned? Yes, it's possible that they were concerned. I was parked on the far, 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 far end of the lot, like nowhere near the building, and like one of the first spaces when you first pull into the lot. That's where I was parked with my window shade up, my window covers. I don't have like Reflectix window covers. I do have some of those, but I don't use them because they're a hassle, for one, and because I need air in my car because it's hot. So I don't put those up. I have curtains that I draw instead. So from the outside of the car, unless you're right up on my car, it just looks like a black car with limo tint. It's what the car looks like unless you're right up on it. If you're right up on it, you can tell it's a curtain and not tinted windows. But that's that. I wasn't making any noise. I wasn't playing any music. There was no trash or anything outside of my car. One rule that I do follow 100% of the time is when I pull into a place, I don't get out. I do not get out unless I'm leaving. That is the only time. No, I'm sorry. Not even when I'm leaving. I don't get out my car to leave. I don't get out of my car. So I pull into where I'm going. I put my shades up and I stay in my car until it's time to leave. And then I put my window shades down and I leave. I don't ever exit my vehicle. So I said that to say it wasn't like I was out there doing something weird or playing music or smoking weed or anything that would be suspicious other than a parked car with a window shade up. That's literally all I was. Anyway, so is it possible that they were truly concerned? Yes. Is it possible that they were nosy? Yes. Is it possible they just didn't want me to be there because maybe they seen my car there before and was like, that's a homeless person, I think, and I don't want them to be here? Very, very, very possible. All of those things are possible. Anyway, so he said, life is hard. Life is hard and life happens. I completely get that. And I'm not trying to make it any more difficult for you, any harder for you, but maybe park anywhere other than here so they'll stop calling me. Because this is a preschool, and you're gonna have parents that are concerned about a car sitting out in the lot. So just find somewhere else to park, basically. And I was like, thank you, and I told him, thank you for being so kind about it. Like, I really do appreciate that. Like, because he didn't have to show any kind of compassion towards me. He didn't have to be nice. He could have arrested me if he wanted to, because it is illegal to live in your car in this state. It's illegal to sleep in your car in this state, let alone live in your car. So I mean, that interaction could have gone way differently, but it was nice to know that there are people out there in law enforcement who, you know, they're not out to get you, and I know all cops are not out to get you, but as a black person in America, and every black person in America who has not lived under a rock knows what I'm talking about. It's not always the safest place, and it's not always the best thing if you end up having an interaction with law enforcement, because there's a track record of it not being good from the very beginning of the institution of the police, law enforcement, whatever you want to call it, since that was instituted, established, since that was established way back in post-slavery period. It's never been positive for black people. So I was just really grateful that it wasn't more nerve-wracking than it was, and that he was compassionate. So thank you, officer. Don't know what your name was or anything like that, but yeah, so I got that knock. It finally happened, and the lights are turning off in here. So yeah, I told him, you know, I completely understand. I didn't know it was a preschool. I mean, I knew it was some kind of, I thought it was like a Sunday school thing for the church, honestly, but you know, obviously it wasn't Sunday. With law enforcement since I've been here, and everyone has been really nice, and so I don't want to say I'm surprised, but I am, and I'm also grateful. And I say this because I once got pulled over, actually a couple times I've interacted with police back home, and they like just, you know, started accusing me of stuff like, how much have you had to drink, and when are you last time you did drugs? I don't do drugs, and I don't drink and drive because I'm not stupid, so you know, haven't had that out here yet, which is great, and you know, hopefully no more knocks, at least not anytime soon. So that was that. I know that was a long-winded story to tell you a short point, but that's how I do. You already know what it is. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, you guys. I appreciate you being here. I'm happy to have you. As always, do great things, live your best life, so long as it doesn't mean bringing harm to other people. And until the next one, peace out.